Hello and welcome to this essential training course, IMF for Beginners. My name is Jack Watts for Trench Digital, and in the following series of videos, I am going to introduce you to the interoperable master format, explain what the format is all about, the benefits of being associated with it, and walk you through each component of the framework in a step-by-step, easy to understand and relatable manner. But first, a little background. Nearly all productions follow the following path from a simplistic point of view. We have our final image and audio mixes being worked on by the post-production folk. Normally, alongside these guys, you have a localization team servicing the translation of scripts and dubbing requirements of shows. This is so that all of the relevant source reference material will be ready for the version onslaught of the theatrical release window, of which there are many versions required for a typical studio release globally. Majority of these versions are also required for their downstream release, which is made up of home entertainment requirements in the form of DVD and Blu-ray, video on demand services, most of which now not only host studio content, but their own original content, which one can avail of privately in their home or in hotels, on airlines, or through various subscription-based services. Then, of course, there's also the OTT marketplace, who to not only have their own original content, but also provide hosting services for the majority of the high-end marketing campaigns in play today, each of which too also has its own versioning requirements to be met. So what does that leave us with? A plethora of formats with a consumer appetite across all global territories, each of which requires significant versioning in the form of subtitles, dubbing, and censorship, to mention a few. As you can imagine, with each one of these versions occupying its own long play continuous file, version management, production storage, archive and communication can get quite hectic. Enter IMF, the interoperable master format. It is a file-based framework that allows the creation of high-quality master versions called compositions. These compositions are a combination of modular-based metadata and referenced image, audio, and time text essence data in an ordered sequence so that they can be played back correctly as intended. Compositions also enable a file-based system to manage, process, and transform it into any foreseeable file format for downstream distribution platforms. It is sometimes referred to as the SMPTE Standard 2067 suite. IMF has a variety of use cases which are managed through applications, and as it is an evolving format, those use cases will continue to grow. As of now, IMF's primary adoption has been in the realm of downstream entertainment and a focus on controlling the versioning chaos by streamlining it into a more manageable ecosystem. One thing to note is that IMF is not an exclusive format for Hollywood studios. Regardless of where you are in the world, if you are a content owner and require managing a monstrous version catalog for the release of each property that you own, IMF is probably for you too. So let's get in and explain what it is. What is the 2067 document suite? It is a series of standards that comprise the format. They were published through the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers standardization process, with the work being completed in the Technology Committee 35 PM, Media Packaging and Interchange. Each standard defines the constraints of a specific component to the framework, yet at the same time being relatable to the other standards within the suite. So to map this out, it looks as follows. We have the core constraints, which outlines the fundamental prerequisites that need to be satisfied and adhered to within the framework. The composition playlist handles the playout of the essence. This essence is then further constrained beyond the core constraints by a series of applications to which there are varying types. There is also the additional system-related files which offer extensible functionality and informational resources to the composition at hand should such functionality be required by the production. Coming from the other side, we then have client delivery specifications, which further dictate the manner in which the essence characteristics defined in the applications should be constructed and incorporated into the composition. But wait, what about these standards? How do they relate? And what is TSP 2121-1? You are correct, the reference to those standards was intentionally left out of the previous graphic, as at this point they would be confusing to bring into the fold just now. And TSP 2121-1? Well, that's not actually a standard, it's a simply technical specification. But don't worry, we are going to cover these. But for now, We will car park them and bring them back into the equation when applicable, in that it will be at the time where I will have provided you the background information to a point where their purpose within IMF will then make sense. Another thing you may have noticed is how I am speaking. I'm using terms that even to the native English speaker may be alien. This terminology is the nomenclature that makes up the IMF ecosystem, and something that one should truly look to work towards understanding if you want to comprehend IMF in a sophisticated manner. Regardless, if you find yourself scratching your head over an acronym or term I've used, simply follow along in the companion document where you will find a definition of each and every term I will be using along the way.